Hi everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Chamber of Pops. So I'm used to showing my face again. For the last few months I've been showing my hands mainly. And not really my face much. But hey, we gotta talk about Crisis on Infinite Earths. We gotta talk about comics. That's what we do here. We do this every Tuesday. We talk about comic books. And if I need more time with the comic, I kind of do something random as well. But yeah, okay. So, anyways, back in December, January, I talked about Crisis on Infinite Earths, the actual comic book. Now we're going to talk about this. Okay, so what is this? No, it's not Crisis on Infinite Earths again. Well, kind of. So back um, last year, they did CW, who owns a lot of the Arrowverse shows, decided to do a 5-part crossover called Crisis on Infinite Earths. They were been building up to this crossover, to do this crossover event that involves the multiverse and the death of the multiverse and fighting the Anti-Monitor. And this crossover took place over 5 episodes from Batwoman, Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. I hope I got that order right. And there's a lot jam-packed in that crossover, but there was 2 stories that they wanted to put in the crossover but couldn't. So they put them in a deluxe comic book. So we're going to talk about those two stories. Now, a few things to remember. If you haven't seen the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event, I'm going to try to steer away from spoilers, but there are some small little details I will have to mention. So there's your warning for that. If you really don't want to get spoiled for anything in that crossover episode, stop watching this video, save it, and then come back to it when you're done the crossover. Number 2, if you are reading this book or have this book and want to read this one, turn away from this video because we are going to be deep diving into some major spoilers for the book, the comic. Okay, so with that in mind, let's talk. So this involves 2 stories. The first one involves Felicity Smoke, my favorite character in Arrow. Y'all know I love Arrow. You can see it right there on the back. Oh, my Arrow pops over there in the back. And another thing that you guys all know is Felicity is my favorite character. Well, at the end of season 7 was revealed that Emily Beth Richards, who plays Felicity, was going to be departing the show, but she was going to come back for the final episode of Arrow, season 8. So, anyways, I kind of lost my voice for a second. I'm filming a bunch of videos tonight. So, anyways, her character Felicity plays a big role in the first half of this crossover. Literally, the Monitor says in the actual show to get the names or who the Paragons were, he literally had the help of Felicity. Now, Felicity and Emily Beth Richards never actually make an appearance throughout this crossover. Again, Emily Beth Richards comes back in the final episode, but they still want to incorporate her character, so they incorporated it into the comic, which I enjoyed. And her story in the comic was her trying to figure out who the Paragons were, and she had to recruit the help of a lot of people. Wally West, aka Kid Flash, the Ray, I believe his name is, Nissa Al Ghul, and the Green Lantern Corps. And she had to go across the multiverse and find who had the Book of Destiny. I believe it's called the Book of Destiny. I can't remember. I haven't watched the actual crossover. I haven't read this book in a while. This was one of those books I had to reread, but now I forgot it. It's like one of those informations I forgot, but it's not important. Anyways, as she's trying to get this information, she finds out that Oliver died, and she wants to bring him back. So she has 2 missions. She has her personal mission to bring her husband back. And then she has a mission that she has to go get these Paragons. Well, she finds it, and then she basically absorbs, she kind of absorbs the Book of Destiny into her, and then gives it to the Monitor. And then she's actually narrating the whole story. And then it turns out at the end of this of her story at least. It turns out she was narrating the whole story to her baby daughter Mia, and I thought it was beautiful. I thought the artwork that they did in this was absolutely beautiful, and I thought this story was just amazing. This first half story with Felicity was my favorite to read in this entire comic, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed her story, and if I was to go back after reading her story and going back and watching the first few episodes of Crisis on Infinite Earths, it would make so much more sense. Now we got to get into part 2. I didn't like part 2 of this book. I didn't like I'm splitting up into part 1 and part 2 because it's just 2 stories. Part 2 of Crisis on Infinite Earths is basically all the Lex Luthors of the world face off against all of the Supermans of this world. It was boring and not that entertaining, and it was boring and not that entertaining. You have Superman and Lex doing what Superman and Lex always does in Superman comics. Fight each other. Lex is one of those characters, even when watching him on Supergirl, and I enjoy him on Supergirl, but I also still find him really he's one of those characters that since Smallville I have found to be annoying. And in the show Supergirl, he's not that annoying. He's annoying but not super annoying. He's self-absorbent but not super self-absorbent. They made him so self-absorbent and so annoying that I remember just laughing at how frustrated I was getting with the second half of this story. Because I did not like it. Superman, on the other hand, I was like, okay, I kind of like Superman. Which is crazy because even on Smallville, I actually liked Lex. But then again, Smallville was developing Lex. But even on, and this was a shock even for myself because I've said this to everyone who would listen. I actually enjoy Lex Luthor on the show Supergirl. I really enjoy him on the show. But he's a pain in the ass in this comic. I did not enjoy him one bit. So with this comic, I ended up being split. It was because I reviewed, this is my third CW side comic to the Arrowverse that I've reviewed, and I have 4 more I'm reviewing, because I'm going to have to review all the Arrow ones, even though I don't own all the Arrow ones. And I just found this to be annoying. I really did enjoy this, honestly. If I'm being flat out honest, I really did enjoy this. The second half of this story, I should really say. And this is my problem. So if you guys look at my Flash review, I kind of go easy on the Flash review that's connected to the show, and I go really, and I say how much I really like the Supergirl story. This is kind of how I feel. I really loved the Felicity story. I thought that was just fantastic. I thought that was fantastically done. But when it came to the Superman versus Lex story, I was like, oh god, I don't even know. And now I'm kind of like, oh, where would I rate this comic as a whole? Because I think fans are going to really enjoy Felicity's story. But then, too, the Superman versus Lex story doesn't really have anything to do with the crossover. It was we just want to add this to make it more of a deluxe edition. I don't know how I feel about this comic. I really don't. If I was to rate Crisis on Infinite Earths, the CW variation, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. If I was to look at the stories individually, I would give Felicity story a 10 out of 10. I would give the Superman versus Lex Luthor story in this comic a 5 out of 10. I really didn't like it. But yeah, I'm really cross, so I'm just going to play it safe and do an 8 out of 10, just to play it safe, because I did enjoy this. Now, I believe, okay, if you are a collector of CW merch, of CW Arrowverse merch like myself, I think this is a great collector edition. I think this is fantastic to have in the collection. I am keeping this comic, and I am going to keep it in the collection. I think from a story wise, if you love Arrow and you love Felicity, you're really going to enjoy Felicity's story. And who knows, you may even enjoy the Superman versus Lex Luthor story. I guess I'm not a big Superman or Supergirl fan to be enjoying it that much. Like, I watch Supergirl. I'm so sad that it's ending this year. I'm going to buy the whole series on DVD. I just bought the full Arrow series, and I gotta still buy the full Black Lightning. Black Lightning? Yeah, is it Black Lightning? I think it's Black Lightning series on DVD as well. Because I want to add them just to my Arrowverse collection. But yeah, I think people are gonna enjoy this. I honestly think people are gonna enjoy this. And if not, I think they're at least gonna enjoy the first half, which focuses on the whole, Felicity story, but there is a lot more to enjoy within this comic. Because it's not just stories, it's really like takes you behind the scenes. Like, there's a letter here. Let me find it. From Greg Bertinelli. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that name wrong. Who is one of the executive producers and one of the main creators of the Arrowverse. And he has a whole letter about what went into creating the shows, and like all that. Mark Guttenham also has a whole letter in here about what went on to basically create this story. I will say who wrote. Yeah, and those two have just that. And then if you flip it to the end of the book, you have basically the production art on how they basically created the production art for the show, which is, again, amazing. And some of this art I'm going to try to recreate myself. I'm not going to at all let any of my art equipment touch this comic. I'm just going to snap a picture, put it on my laptop, and do it. And again, just how they design this stuff is amazing. And again, it's something that you can sit back and enjoy. Oh, yeah, and there is kind of a few more letters from, and it's just basically breaking down the crossover and the comic and all that, and like the script and everything. Marv Wolfman, who actually created the original Crisis on Infinite Earths comic book, has a letter in here. And then it's basically like the script and what they were going to do. It's all fantastic to, by the way, read. And if you have the time, you definitely should be reading all this behind the scenes work because it's amazing to read. So yeah, I gotta give it an 8 out of 10. Again, this is a fantastic collector edition, especially if you enjoyed the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. So yeah, that's all I gotta say on this. Anyways, guys, thank you so much as always. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and make sure to share this video. If you really like this video, please share it. If not, please give me a big thumbs up, and please subscribe and put the notifications on. That really does help the channel, again, so I can continue doing great comic book reviews for you. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday with a brand new comic book review. Bye, guys.